for those people that might be fresh to pop-up PD, this is something that I've been doing with both myself, Greg, and Sue, just as a way that we can share some quick ideas with the group here at Mote Teachers on Facebook, but we're also saving these and then sharing them as a playlist that lives over on our YouTube channel. So Greg has got two wonderful resources and new ideas that he's going to be sharing with us today. For those of you that are familiar with Greg's resources, you'll be very excited to hear about two coming from him today. So if you're able to share your screen, Greg, I will pop that up onto the display.
Yeah, sure. Hold on 1 second. Let me get that pushed up. Okay, we should be ready to go.
Let's just see. Add to stream. I'm going to remove myself just from the stream, Greg, and I'll be fielding any questions and passing them over as and when they happen. So really excited about this. Over to you, Greg.
All right, perfect. Thanks, John. So you may remember as a child, I know I have fond recollections of reading Choose Your Own Adventure books. They always had those really interesting kind of like hand-drawn covers where you could pick the path of the character and kind of have your own outcome. And it got me to go back and read more than once and kind of engage with those stories. So I thought, what an interesting way that we could take that concept and put it in the hands of students by having them create Choose Your Own Adventure audio stories by using Mote and Google Forms combined together. So we've created a resource on the Mote Hub, and I can't recommend enough checking out the Mote Hub. And if you go to learn.mote.com, and you can see right on the top, here's the hub. And it has all of our classroom-ready resources, templates, video tutorials, everything like that. So we have two new additions down here, and here we have the Choose Your Own Adventure stories. So the idea is that we can use Google Forms and kind of the branching capacity of Google Forms to allow students to tell an audio story and then give the listener or the viewer or the reader, however you want to describe them, the option to pick their next path. And that path will branch and split based on the decision of the listener, and then they get to continue on down that path. So we have a full video walkthrough of this on the hub. We have a slide deck that explains the whole process, as well as two Google Form templates that you can use to get started on your own. What I thought I would do is show you one of the templates to kind of show you what this process would look like. So in Google Forms, you can see here, it's this Choose Your Own Adventure audio story. This is template number 2 that's on the hub and ready for you. So it's a story introduction with audio, and then the listener gets to make their first choice. So what I can do here now is add, using the Mote extension, add my audio. Welcome to my audio story. So I would go on and on for, a minute or two telling the story. All right, so now you have a critical choice. Would you like the character to go down path A or path B? Right? And so the end user, the listener, can decide. When I'm done, that audio gets added. There it is. And as soon as we click to the next section, that's what the listener would hear, right? The story introduction, and they get to make their first choice. They listen, and then it's a multiple choice question. Now, the way that you do this is in a multiple choice question on Forms, go to triple dots and turn on go to section based on answer. So if you'll notice, I have section 2 and section 7. So if you pick this path, guess where you're going? To section 2, which is right here. If you pick this path, you're going all the way down to section 7 because that's the other path in the story, right? So let me go back up for a second, but this is where it gets interesting. On section 2, it says story continues, audio and choice, right? So now you can go to 3 or 5. You have another branch you can go down. And again, just add your audio. Here's another little trick that I want to add to this as well. If you want the end user, the listener, just to hear the story and not make a choice yet, here's what you do. Add a multiple choice question. I'll say, listen to my story. And then as the only option, I'll just write continue on and make that required. So now what I'll do here is, let me just do a quick little refresh. I'm going to add my audio. So welcome to your choice. We're going down path 2, and now I can go on and on with my story and hit done. So then the end user will see, listen to my story with the audio, and then just continue on. So if it's the case that 90 seconds isn't quite enough for you to tell your story, just add multiple choice, 90 seconds, continue on. Follow it up, multiple choice, 90 seconds, continue on. And then maybe add your branching capacity to kind of have that branch out as needed. So that's just a little hack to make kind of like build this out as big as you want to. I'm just going to go clean this up and pull those audio files out of here. So what I also have in the template for you, let me just make this a little bit bigger. In the slide deck with the templates, I have a few of these mapped out so you can see what it looks like. One of the biggest challenges is you're going to try to build a nonlinear story into a linear tool in Google Forms. So I think it's important to map out what your story is going to be like, build all of your sections, and then do the linking. So here's one example. Here's the example I was just walking through: a split to 2 and 7, a split to 3 and 5, a split to 8 and 10. So you can do this in Google Slides, do it on a piece of paper, on Google Drawings, map out all of your sections, build your sections, add in the branching, and then add in your audio and tell your story. So that's kind of idea number one that we wanted to share. And that's already up live on the Mote Hub, which I think John may have shared that out in the chat as well. The template, the videos, the slides, everything you need is right here on the Mote Hub.
Let me just make sure that I'm sharing that as well, Greg. Yeah, so I'm just going to drop your screen down there. We did have someone say that storytelling on a different level. I couldn't agree more. That was next level everything there, Greg. So yeah, and there were also some really nice Google form tips thrown in. So maybe some people aren't familiar with the idea of how you can set up conditional branching forms, and just that little drop down there with the 3 dots when you can choose go to section based upon answer. But I think combining that with voice notes is really exciting. And as someone that really appreciates diagrams and graphs as well, I think that slide deck looks absolutely delicious. So I'm sure that people will be flocking over in their hundreds to go to learn.mote.com. As Greg said, like that is our sort of growing bank of resources. Most people are finding their way to the hub, where we've got about 25 templates currently. We are looking to create or to find a better way of allowing users to search for the content and the templates that is most relevant for them. So watch this space. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to super quickly share my own screen and just to share some like smaller tips, but tips that I think nevertheless would still be of use. And it's actually singular. So when I say tips, I actually mean tip. So this is something, if you aren't familiar with the idea, there is something called hyperdocs, and hyperdocs are basically it's a really clever way of using Google Docs. I know that Greg, that you're a big fan of using hyperdocs and creating those, basically using lots of hyperlinks as part of your Google Doc that take whoever's engaging with the content off to a variety of different resources. Well, if you have seen, like when we launched Mote for Forms, we also launched the capacity that whereby if you had a Mote that was sitting within a Google Sheet, you could hover over it and it became a clickable voice note. Well, in case you missed it, you can also do the same with Google Docs. And let me just show you this. So to do that, I'm going to use the Mote extension up here in the top right-hand corner. And I'm going to go ahead and use the Notepad to record a voice note. Please could you let me know which episode of The Office this script came from, please? Automatically, the URL is copied to my clipboard, so I could just jump in very easily over this point here. The point is you talk the talk, but you do not walk the walk. And I'll click on comment. Oh, sorry, not click on comment. That's what I would do if I was doing a comment. I'm actually going to leave it highlighted and just go to insert link. You can also do Command K if you want to do a bit of showboating, or Control K if you're on a Chromebook. And I'm going to put the link in there. That is true, isn't it, Greg? Like if you see someone doing a Control K or a Command K, you know they know their onions when it comes to Google Docs. So so let me just. So I'm going to click on apply, and you'll see that I've now got a hyperlink here. So that's great. But with Mote, what's even more spectacular is that when you click on that link, you've now got the voice note that plays back. Please could you let me know from within the document itself. And you could also, by the way, you can apply exactly the same principle. So using the Notepad to record your audio and then linking that to an image or anything else that sits within your Google Doc as an element. And I did want to say, Greg, that I know that you've actually created something on this, which is in the hub. I'm right in thinking that?
Yeah, you can grab it right out of the chat. I dropped it in there. So if you want to, we can get that posted to the Facebook stream as well. Yeah, if you go to the hub and you scroll down, there's an option there to access all our materials on audio hyperdocs.
Got it.
And there's a whole video walkthrough. So if you missed the recording process John did and the capturing the link and the embedding the link, it takes you the whole process step by step as well.
And this is the this is the resource that that Greg was talking about. So audio hyperdocs sit on the hub, and that is the URL for it. As always, anything that we're sharing onto Facebook, we will respond to any comments that are coming in live. But we also know that for lots of different reasons, different people cannot access as we're actually delivering it live. So if you leave it effectively watching it as on demand and you leave us a comment, we will do our best to get back to you as soon as possible. Okay, so I'm going to hide that banner now. And this one I'm actually really excited for. I don't want to give anything away, but I know that it's something that Greg was, that we weren't necessarily sure that it was going to work. So I am really excited to see this, Greg. So I think I can see your screen. It looks set up and ready to go. So I'm going to hand over to you.
Excellent. Thanks, John. So a new addition, a late addition last night to the Mote Hub is an idea of creating virtual audio tours with the sticky Mote capacity in Mote, which allows you to add audio on any website that you want and then share a unique link. So when your students land on that website or that URL or that page, they're not there on their own. They're there with you guiding them through audio. So I thought, what a great way to take students around the world using a few different free web tools, and I'll demo that really quickly, where they can go somewhere and then hear you talking about that location, which is just like a really powerful experience. A little bit of inspiration from kind of the idea of building virtual tours with some VR products. But now it kind of like, in some ways, you're just kind of removing the barrier to entry because you're giving students a link. They click on the link, they end up on that location, they can hear you talking, and then they can kind of explore, reflect, and examine what's going on there. So like we said on the Mote Hub, here's the resource, virtual audio tours. There's a whole video walkthrough and a slide deck that kind of takes you through the process. What I thought I would do is just demo the thing live. So what I'm going to do is jump over to Google Earth first. And John, I'll actually have to check to see if you've been here. I'm going to bring us to one of my favorite places in the world, which is the West 4th Street.
I have been there. I have.
You've been to West 4th Street. That's amazing.
I have. Of course I have, Greg. I actually got married in Manhattan.
Oh, I didn't know that.
We didn't actually have the ceremony at West 4th, but it was, of course, part of our celebrations. But yeah, I have been here, and
that's amazing.
I'm even more excited to see where you're going to go with this now, Greg.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So West 4th Street is this mecca of basketball in New York. At any given day, if you go there, you can often catch professionals in the summer playing basketball in this kind of public playground. So what I'm going to do is just go back to West 4th Street, kind of in this Google Earth view, right? If I want to bring my students here as part of this virtual tour that I'm building, what I'm going to do is tap on the Mote extension up in my browser. Yeah, the Mote extension of my browser. I'm going to use the Mote pad now, similar to what John did before. So I'll hit record. Welcome to West 4th Street, maybe one of the most famous outdoor basketball courts in the world. At any point in the summer, if you stop by West 4th Street, if you pop up off of the subway, you can catch professional NBA players, former pros, high-level college players, and some of the best street ball players in New York engaging in the West 4th Street League. So I highly recommend it. Its nickname is the Cage because you can basically shoot from one side of the court to the other because it's so small and there's no out of bounds. You touch the cage and you're still in bounds. So now I'm done with my audio. I will hit done. And you can see that's one of my recent motes. However, to get my students to land here, here's my process. What I'm going to do now is go to my activity and engagement. That's going to bring me to my Mote activity page. And you can see right here from google.com, West 4th Street. Here's how I like to build these things together. I'm going to go to a set of Google Slides where I might be mocking up my audio tour. So here we are in Google Slides. I'll go back to my activity page, right-click on View Landing Page, and copy the link address. You'll see why I'm doing that in a minute. Now I'm going to go to the landing page right now. Notice what's happening. It's bringing me to a Mote page, but then it's loading Google Earth in the background because look what we have. My sticky Mote talking about West 4th Street. So a student can click play. Welcome to West 4th Street, right? So they can hear my whole audio introduction. And I can't if they want to navigate and get closer and examine it, they absolutely can. What they can do is close out my sticky mote, and it gives us this little indicator on the right. They're like, hey, it's still there. You just kind of hit it for the moment. And then if they'd like to, they can go to Street View, right? We'll drop this down. We'll go to Street View. Notice my sticky mote is still there. Now I'm in the courts at West 4th Street. You can see how short that court is. The 3-point lines almost touch at half court. We'll open up the sticky mote and keep playing. Maybe one of the most famous. Now, here's how I build the whole experience. What I'm going to do is grab a screenshot here of this experience, go back to my Google Slides, and drop that screenshot in here, because I want the students to have an indicator of like where they need to go and what they need to do. Just going to tidy this up a bit, make it look nice, give it some Mote colors. Now what I'll do, because remember I copied that hyperlink before, I'm going to insert the link to the sticky Mote page inside that image. So that's added. What I'm going to do as well is add an indicator to the students. And I always use the same one, the computer pointer finger, this like late 80s, early 90s icon. Hold on one second, transparent. And I'll take this little pointer finger and drop it here to let them know like, hey, that's clickable. And then what I might also do is give them a space once they're done exploring to come back and write about their experience. So let's add another little workspace in here. And this would be for student reflection. Let me just push this up so it looks nice. We'll center that and give it a little bit of border weight to match our aesthetic here. Oh, not the bucket fill. We'll make that bucket fill white, border fill purple. There we go. So now when you can push this out through Google Classroom, you can make this view only if it's just a consumption thing, but the students can click and click. It brings them to Google Earth. It loads the sticky Mote, and now they get you taking them on that custom virtual audio tour of West 4th Street. Google Earth's not the only thing you can do it with. If you want to bring them to maybe a more historic location, so we'll do the Palace of Versailles. No, I spelled that wrong. There we go, Palace of Versailles. And you might say, I'd like to bring them here. Like maybe we're studying the French Revolution. Same thing, drop your sticky Mote, grab the link, and now they can look around the palace with your audio guiding them, right? So what it could end up looking like is something like this. Palace of Versailles, a link to a sticky Mote, a workspace. This is, again, the 360 cities, link to a sticky Mote in the workspace. What you can even do, which a lot of folks are unaware of, is on YouTube, you can filter by 360 videos. Let me show you that really quickly. I'll do ancient Egypt, go to my filter, and then filter by 360. So
You're
now
spoiling us, Greg. You're spoiling us.
We're throwing a lot in here. We'll go to this this CNN one right here. So now as the end user, we'll let this play through. When the end user is watching this video back, they can turn and look around and have your sticky Mote right there waiting for them. So custom audio virtual tours with sticky Motes, super powerful kind of application of the tool.
That is unbelievable. We've had a few comments there just coming through, Greg. I know that you were very much in the flow of the delivery there, but just people commenting about how helpful it would be in humanities classes, so geography and history, looking at some of the social sciences, possibly as well for English students, maybe putting some of the literature into other contexts, or just different ways of presenting material using sticky Motes with a variety of different spaces. I think the idea of using them within Google Earth, I think, is absolutely brilliant. I know that we're both quite a fan of the sort of VR. VR as a medium for giving our students and giving our learners different opportunities, and I think when you combine it with something like this, that is absolutely brilliant. So thank you so much for sharing that today, Greg. And just as a reminder, both of your resources today, you will have seen or were shared. They are live on the Hub now. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Go to the Hub. We always add the newest resources on the bottom for now. Just scroll down and you can find both of those resources for you.
That's brilliant, Greg. So we have, I mean, we only promised a few tips today, and I know that I shared my paltry one on hypermotes. that was a spectacular just menu of different things that people are going to be able to access. So I think one of the hardest tasks is going to be providing a description which covers all of those bases. But so if you are accessing this on demand, so not live, and you want to just throw some comments in, please do so, whether that's on YouTube, whether that's on our Facebook group. And if you've got other ideas of how perhaps you've been using sticky notes or Google Forms, or indeed any other way that you've been leveraging voice as part of your Google experience, or even outside of Google, we would love to hear. And if you were generous enough, then we'd also be really excited to put those onto our hub as well. But I think that's all for today. We
have a costume change, John.
It's only a slight change.
I mean, if we want to make this a trend, we can show up to these with jerseys on, our favorite jerseys.
There we go. Yeah. But yeah, in the kind of in the spirit of supporting global events that are going on currently, I thought it was fitting to be sporting something of relevance. But anyway, Greg, thank you so much for sharing those wonderful ideas so generously today, as always. And we will definitely jump on at some point next week, I'm sure, to be sharing some more pop-up PD. But until then, thank you so much. Cheers, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, John.